In today's video, we're talking about our Toyota 4Runner and how we made it off-road capable and safe to tow a trailer. It is said that 4Runners could tow about 5,000 pounds. From what I read and research I've done, that's realistically about 4,500 pounds. Our trailer's just under that at about 3,700 pounds. That being said, we're well within that safe range. We did make a couple of upgrades specifically for towing. I'll go over those in a second, but we did a transmission cooler to keep the transmission cool. We added a trailer brake controller so I can control the strength that the trailer brakes are putting out. We also added a stronger rear spring to help with the weight distribution, and with the trailer we got a weight distribution hitch, which I'll go over in a later video when we go over the trailer. For those of you that are new to the channel, my wife Megan and I travel full-time in our travel trailer. We've been on the road for about a year now. We've been as far north as Olympic National Forest in Washington and as far south as La Paz down in Baja. Okay, starting up front here, let's start with the lighting. We have, on the headlamps, I've swapped out the bulbs for the LEDs, so it's a much brighter white, which work great. The original housing here, for the fogs, did the same thing, switched them out to LEDs, but put a yellow LED in there, so that's nice for dusty or foggy conditions. In here we have the 30-inch light bar. I believe it's from Cali raised. Definitely was trying to save some money at that point. What else? We can move on. Let's move on to the Baja designs. These things are super bright. They're probably our brightest lights we have on. They really help seeing like the side of the track. They're called ditch lights for a reason. Okay, jumping to the side here, we have the Baja Design S2 Sports. They have the flood light pattern on them. Basically we use them for camp setup or sometimes even on the trail just to see what's around us a little better. These are great little side lights. I would like to get a couple more, maybe an amber on the back. Underneath here, I swapped out the stock skid plate for the TRD, much more sturdy here. And then we also have these Ironman recovery points on either side. It's a lot heftier than the tie-down hooks, I guess you would call them. These have been a lifesaver. We've helped rescue a bunch of people using them, so glad we have those. All right, and you probably can't see on camera, but back behind the light bar here, we attached a transmission cooler. Helps keep the transmission temps down when we're towing up hills and in the heat. Anything to prolong the life of the transmission. All right, moving on to the roof rack here. We shopped around for a little bit trying to decide which style we liked. I really like 4Runner as a company, and they came out with this Slim Sport style roof rack. It's very similar to Prinzu, which is great though. It has these channels all the way down it, so everything is locked in real tight. We have max tracks up front for recovery, some storage boxes for clothing and camping gear, and then back here for our roto packs we have a 2-gallon can. We mainly use it for our generator, but we like to keep it full just in case for emergencies, helping other people out or ourselves if we get in a situation. But yeah, as far as the roof rack, that's about it. On the other side, we have a pretty standard Ironman 4x4 awning. It's just a 6 or 8 foot awning. Pretty basic, but it's nice, has LED lights on it. Okay, for wheels, we have the Method 701 bead grip technology. I've gone over that in a previous video, but basically it just means we could go down to a really low tire pressure, about like 8 or 10 even, without worrying about coming off the bead here. So that's really good for sand driving, which we love. The tires, they are pretty beat up, but we love them. These are the General Grabber ATX 3s. It's a good aggressive all-terrain tire. All in all, on and off road, it's been great, so we're happy with them. I'm not sure if I'm going to switch to a different brand or just go with a replacement, but we shall see. All right, for front suspension, I went ahead and upgraded to TOWING. Let me start over. So originally, we went with all Bilstein. I forget the number of it, but it's basically entry-level Bilstein shocks front and rear. We were happy with those, but we like to get on some rough roads, so upgrading to the TOWING 2.0 Illuma series was a huge upgrade. These things are awesome. They're pretty basic, they're not super expensive, but they give us a really smooth ride up front. When we did the lift, it was required to put in some new control arms, so we went with SPC here, which are okay. They're not my favorite, but they're pretty sturdy. As far as front suspension, that's about it. Let's go check out the rear. Okay, for rear suspension, we are still rocking the original Bilstein struts. For his coils, the rear springs rather, we went with the TOWING heavy duty springs that are rated for an additional 300 pounds, I believe. The additional weight rating helps us kind of balance the weight we carry around. Ideally, we'd like to install airbags on the rear springs that help kind of some adjustability to how much weight we're carrying, which is great. All right, so these are our custom rock sliders. I got them from a guy, I think I found them on, it was like Facebook, the 4Runners page. Anyways, long story short, he was the guy who was making them. They're really sturdy, really beefy. They definitely got some damage when we did the Bonneville salt flats. All the salt just caked onto here, and it took us a while before we could find a good car wash to get it all off. So anyways, these need to be resurfaced, but that's a project for this summer. All right, let's move on to the interior. I'll show you around what's inside. All right, coming into the interior here, we have the light switch panel. This is also Cali raised, super cheap, but it does the job perfectly. Nothing too fancy on there, and I kind of tucked it down out of the way. We have our ram mount, which is nice because it rotates, so I mainly use the ram mount for the rear view camera on the trailer, so you can see what's going on there. As far as up front here, there's not a whole lot going on. We have a dash cam on the windshield. Oh, and one of the more important things is this red arc brake controller, which is adjustable. It's really helpful to be able to adjust that on the fly. All right, now move on to the back platform. So this is where the dogs, if you can see here, this is where the dogs spend their time. We put their beds up here. The seats are all just folded up. And then we have some storage underneath here. It's like big snow jackets, our sand flag, fire extinguisher, always have that super close and handy. Okay, so this is the back here. This is the drawer system I built and / sleeping platform when we were overlanding and sleeping in the truck. Works great for that, but now it works great to carry all our gear. We have all kinds of stuff we stuff back here. But let me show you what's in the drawers. Okay, so in this drawer, mainly recovery gear, tools, basically like a little garage. All the stuff we might need on the road for fixes or to get out of a tough spot. And on this side, we have excess camping gear, extension cords, blankets. We also have this big bladder here, which we use to fill up water for the trailer. These drawers are 36 inches long, so there's plenty of storage underneath there, which is great. Okay, that pretty much wraps up the walkthrough for the 4Runner. I hope this was helpful in some way. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. And if you're into this kind of travel, make sure to subscribe and follow us along.